Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, March 7th. I'm Laura Cornfield, and this is IBA News broadcasting live from Jerusalem. U.S. President Donald Trump called Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last night to discuss the Iranian threat. The surprise telephone reportedly occurred as Netanyahu was being questioned by police for the fourth time over corruption charges. The Prime Minister's office said the two leaders spoke at length about Iran's nuclear activities and agreed on the need for Washington and Jerusalem to work together and deal with the dangers. Netanyahu also thanked Trump for condemning the recent upsurge in anti-Semitic attacks across the United States. As mentioned, the conversation with Trump came in the middle of the Prime Minister's questioning last night, which lasted just over 4 hours. Netanyahu was asked to address additional testimonies given from his longtime friend, Hollywood producer Arnon Milchan, who was questioned by police over the weekend in Los Angeles. Milchan allegedly gave the Netanyahu family pricey gifts worth hundreds of thousands of shekels. Police said they still need to question Australian billionaire James Packer, who is also connected to the corruption affair, before completing the probe. Police Commissioner Roni Al-Sheikh reiterated today that the Prime Minister's investigation is in its final stages and that police will update the public when it is over. Those advocating boycotts of Israel will no longer be allowed to enter the country, according to a controversial new bill adopted by the Knesset on Monday. The measure, which was passed following a 46-28 vote, would bar foreign citizens who have publicly endorsed a boycott of Israel, including Judea and Samaria, or is employed by an organization advocating such a position. Israel already frequently turns away BDS advocates at the border, but does so in an inconsistent and unpredictable manner. Under the new law, the Interior Minister is empowered to make exemptions for individuals at his discretion. Critics have charged that the move would stifle free speech and isolate Israel, with proponents have called it a necessary measure intended to prevent the abuse of tourist visas by anti-Israel activists. During operational duty along the Gaza border this morning, an IDF patrol defused 2 explosive devices placed near the border fence to be detonated against soldiers deployed in the area. The devices were placed in an area that is forbidden to enter. Earlier this morning, a Palestinian spotted by troops approaching the border fence from Gaza was lightly injured from a stun grenade thrown by soldiers. The military prosecution today submitted an appeal against IDF soldier Elor Azaria's sentence. Chief Military Advocate General Sharon Afek asked the Military Appeals Court to harshen the sentence after Azaria's defense attorney Yoram Sheftel appealed the soldier's conviction and sentencing last week. Earlier this month, Azaria, who was convicted of manslaughter for fatally shooting a neutralized terrorist in Hebron in March of last year, received an 18-month prison term. The prosecution claims the sentence was too lenient and has no correlation with the severity of the conviction, and is demanding that the soldier be given a new sentence of at least 2.5 years in prison. Some 50 students who study at the international school in Kfar Yarok participated in a 24-hour simulation on the Israeli-Palestinian peace conflict. We get more in this report from IBA's Margot Dudkevich.
They come from different countries around the world. Young teenagers who chose to leave the Instagram and Snapchat behind and participate in hours of intensive simulated peace talks at the Leon Chani Resolution Center on the campus of the Eastern Mediterranean International School, run by the Emis Foundation at the Kfar Yarok Youth Village. They come from places such as China, Slovakia, Spain, Thailand, Russia, Israel, and even Ramallah and Gaza. They split up into Israeli and Palestinian delegations, spending hours sitting around tables, seeking solutions to the conflict, debating the future status of Jerusalem, borders and settlements.
Many people, when they're talking about this conflict, they just stuck on the past. They don't want to look forward to the future.
My country is pretty peaceful, so I didn't experience like a real conflict. And coming here, every day I discovered that this conflict is more and more complex.
The media in Vietnam is really biased in this whole conflict. I would say that whenever they mention of Israel or Palestine, the only image that we are receiving every day are rockets.
Leaving their carefree lives behind, they devoted their time to discussing, debating and arguing, ways to attain peace, all striving for the same goal, to find solutions to the highly charged Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
When I started telling my friends that I was moving to Israel, I had to be very careful the way I told them, because a lot of them think that it's a war zone here or that it's not safe, but it's really not like that.
I think it's our duty, or it's our responsibility, to not just look through this small keyhole, but also to open the entire door.
I never actually experienced the conflict before I came to Emis. I was like, okay, Palestinians. But the only Arabs who I actually talked to were from Arab Israelis. I didn't talk to anyone from the West Bank and any Arab country, and meeting them now was a great opportunity for me. We decided that all the tunnels that Hamas built, they're gonna be demolished or flooded. Security of the holy places will be done by special outside community and control.
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is something that academics around the world are concerned about. And by coming here, I believe that I can learn more about this conflict in general, what I can apply in my life.
In the end, it appeared the two-state solution won out by a large majority. But while some students expressed doubts over whether peace would prevail, allowing future generations of Israelis and Palestinians to live side by side peacefully, all were united in their dream for a better future, one of hope.
The solution to the conflict is a two-state solution. There will be an Israeli state and a Palestinian state.
Margot Dudkevich, IBA News.
Agriculture Minister Uri Ariel apologized to the Bedouin community for the death of local teacher Yaqub El-Kayan at El-Hirin several weeks ago. Meeting with the heads of the local communities in Rahat yesterday, Ariel said if there was a mistake at El-Hirin, he apologizes deeply. He said he will wait for the findings of the police internal investigations unit currently probing the incident, where police officer Sergeant Erez Levi was also killed. Ariel said he will visit the community and apologize to the family in person if the police probe shows that they were at fault. On January 18th, police demolished residents' homes in the village when things became violent. Police fired shots at El-Kayan's vehicle, which rammed into a group of police deployed at the site, killing the police officer. Initially, police declared El-Kayan was a terrorist, but further investigation raised questions over the behavior of police at the scene and whether their gunfire caused El-Kayan to lose control of his car and ran into the policeman accidentally. Almost 9,000 Ethiopians are still waiting to make Aliyah, despite a 2015 cabinet decision to bring them here. Knesset Deputy Speaker Hilik Bar said on Monday at a parliamentary event marking 25 years of Ethiopian immigration. Returning from a trip to transit camps in Gudahar and Addis Ababa, arranged by the Knesset Diaspora Committee Chair, MK Avram Neguse, Bar expressed shock over the situation. Only 63 Ethiopians have arrived since late 2015, he said, lashing out at what he described as a great injustice. The government suspended Ethiopian Aliyah in 2013, stating that all halachic Jews in Ethiopia had been brought over. Following protests by Ethiopian Israeli activists, the government backpedaled, stating that those left behind would be allowed to make Aliyah if they underwent a conversion and could show that they had relatives living here. Bar asked why the Ethiopian Aliyah had stalled while Israel had facilitated substantial immigration from Europe. A controversial plan for a cable car that will connect West Jerusalem to the Old City is expected to come under review by the National Planning Council in the coming months. If approved, the Ministry of Tourism hopes to have the project up and running within the next 3 years. According to the ministry, the cable car will have 3 stops, the first station, Mount Zion, and the Dung Gate. In an interview on Army Radio, Tourism Minister Yariv Levin said the project is of vital importance, noting the Old City and areas around it are inaccessible with a lack of parking and good public transport. He emphasized that the cable car would not run over the Old City, but just stop just outside the walls, adding that he estimates it will be used by some 25,000 visitors on weekdays. It will not operate on the Sabbath or on holidays. The project is the brainchild of the Jerusalem City Council and Mayor Nir Barkat. Team Israel is advancing in the World Baseball Classic, having won its first 2 games in the international tournament this week. On Monday, Israel beat host South Korea, ranked 3rd in the world, by 2-1, followed today by an 11-3 victory over China. This is Israel's first time in the championship, having failed to secure a place in previous years. According to ESPN, bookmakers have set the odds of an Israeli victory at 200 to 1. Team Israel is slated to play the Netherlands on Thursday.
Tirándole se va con el strike y termina el partido. Israel dando la primera sorpresa en este clásico mundial de béisbol. Derrota nada más y nada menos que al local.
The level of water at the Sea of Galilee has reached its lowest level in a century. Officials of the country's water authority revealed the sparse rainfall that fell in northern Israel over the winter has led authorities to declare the area an official drought-stricken site for the fourth consecutive year. This comes after authorities recorded the lowest precipitation level for the month of February. The water levels at the Sea of Galilee rose only 22 centimeters last month, and since the beginning of this month, the sea's water level stands 16 centimeters below the red line. And on a more positive note, a group of rare salamanders was today released at the Tel Dan Nature Reserve. The lizard-like creatures, whose mother was apparently run over several months ago, were extracted from their mother's body and raised inside an aquarium until today. The amphibians, who return to water only to breed, are of a rare species which are at risk of becoming extinct. In local money matters, shares were up on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange while the shekel strengthened in foreign currency trading. Here are the numbers. The IBA weather team says there will be no significant changes in temperatures tomorrow, and skies will remain partly cloudy with a chance of fog along the coastal plain in the morning. Here are the highs and lows at home and abroad. And that's all for this newscast. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same channel. Until then, I'm Laura Cornfield wishing you a good evening and shalom from Jerusalem.